Hello and welcome to the Fulhamish quick take here after Fulham's 1-1 draw against Brighton and Hove Albion at the Amex. A windy, rainy day here on the south coast, and a few people in the concourse said to me it felt like a 1-1 win, and definitely I think that probably sums it up well. A great point, a difficult place to come, and our decent unbeaten record against Brighton in the Premier League continues. And it was a great second half performance, wasn't it, from the lads? A deserved goal, Joao Palhinha with it. It maybe could have been more if Rodrigo Muniz, little back heel had gone in. Look, it was a poor first half, wasn't it? Fulham were just not at the races at all. It just really wasn't working. And a terrible, terrible goal to concede. Conceded so easily in midfield. They worked it through. You were there in the stands being like, no, we can't be surely. It can't be this easy. Maybe there's going to be a foul or something somewhere. Evan Ferguson, it was a good finish, but he just rolled it into the net, didn't he? And it looked like it was going to be a really tough afternoon. I think for the rest of the first half, I think one thing that's got to be given credit to this Fulham team is that we just held on. We held on, kept it tight, and that was probably the biggest positive that you could take out of the first half, really, for Fulham, is that we just kept it at 1-0. And especially with Brighton playing, I think, Europa League football on Thursday, you knew that maybe the longer this game went on, if Fulham were in the match, then we were definitely in the match, because Fulham would have had the fresher legs. We've had a much longer rest than Brighton, even though it was only Monday. And so it told, really. I think, obviously, for Fulham, the triple substitution was critical. On came Harry Wilson, on came Rodrigo Muniz, on came Andreas Pereira, and just instantly Fulham were given a lease of life, really. We just looked like we were causing Brighton problems. Rodrigo Muniz, I think if you'd have told us at the end of last season that we'd be relying on him to get a goal for us 10 games into the Premier League season, I don't think any of us would believe you. He couldn't get into Middlesbrough's team last year, but suddenly he seems to be the option for Fulham right now. And I actually think he came on and did well. Look, I think, like, is he the ultimate answer ever? Not for me, no, but I like him a lot. He comes on, and this Brighton team just needed a little bit of a rocket up them. They needed someone to run at them, and Raul Jimenez was just not doing it. Rodrigo Muniz, he came on. He is not the most skillful striker in the world, but he just caused Lewis Dunk a few problems, because he scrapped and he battled and he ran and he didn't stop running. And I think sometimes you can overanalyze football, and you can look at a player's, anticipation or their touch or anything, but a player coming on who just is giving a little bit of energy and fight and desire can do an awful lot. And that's what Rodrigo Muniz has in spades. And had that back heel gone in, which was just a couple of minutes after Fulham's goal, then it would have been magic. Alas, it wasn't to be. And look, our kind of resurgence after Joao's goal kind of faded away, and Brighton definitely had the better of the latter stages. And if it wasn't just for a few good blocks by players like Ream, and obviously Leno made a couple of good saves as well, then we could have been looking at a 2-1 defeat. But I think we can always back this Fulham team to be pretty dogmatic in defence when we have to. When we have something to scrap for towards the end, we tend to hold on. We're very good at that. We've got a lot of experience at it. And I think, I was never too worried that Brighton, once Fulham got back into the game at 1-1, it was a couple of iffy moments, don't get me wrong, but I was always fairly certain that Fulham would hold on, and we had chances to win it as well. There was a couple of moments that we had. I think Wilson made a couple of breaks down the right-hand side. We just weren't able to find players quite in the right places in the box. Still, our ability when we get to the byline at cutting it back, it feels like we never get a goal that way, and that's something to be concerned about. It's definitely not like, look, a point at the Amex has certainly not fixed all our problems, but I think there's a good feeling back at Fulham. And after Spurs, there was a lot of questions being asked, and now, Marcus Silva signed new contracts. We've got a good point away at the Amex, and I think we can, look forward to the next games now. I think, there was a big fear, really, that this was going to be 4 defeats in a row. These games between the 2 international breaks were really tough, and getting a point just kind of arrests that slide. And I think when we look at the bigger picture of the league, and we're hoping that there are these 3 teams worse than us, I don't think many teams in and around us, your Forests, your Burnleys, your Bournemouths, are going to come to the Amex and get a point. And it's points like these that might keep you up. It's points like these that might keep you comfortable. You know, we know that the games to win are the games at home against those around us, but if you can get unexpected points here, you know, we got an unexpected point at the Emirates. These are the kind of things that I think this Fulham team can do that maybe some of the teams around us can't. You know, we've got a real determination, steel. Sorry, I'm very shaky with this camera today. That really is impressive, and I think is the slight difference between us and other teams. So a lot of positives. I certainly wasn't finding many positives from the first 45, but the second 45 really, I think, gives us something to cling on to. Big game on Wednesday in the Cup against Ipswich, and I really hope that we put a strong lineup out for that. We know that's going to be an incredibly difficult game against a side that is smashing it in the Championship right now, looks Premier League bound and has a lot of Premier League quality in there. But we are a Premier League side and they're a Championship side, and we shouldn't forget that, because if Fulham puts out a strong 11, it should be better than whatever Ipswich can put out. You know, you look at the likes of Burnley, who smashed the Championship last year, and look where they are in this league. We have to treat that game with huge respect. I'm sure Marco Silva will. It doesn't help that it's on a Wednesday and then there's a Saturday lunchtime game. I think there will be changes, but I'm just hoping there aren't too many. So hopefully we can advance to that. And then look, the United game that they're playing right now against Manchester City, they're currently losing. Who knows what that finishes as? But, you know, I think if Fulham play like we did in the second half at home, I think that we are good enough to cause any team in this league problems. But if we put in more performances like we did in the first 45, then this will be a long, long season. So definitely a big positive today. This is always a tough ground to come to, but Fulham once again come away with a positive result from the Amex. Thanks for watching the Quick Take. The podcast will be out Monday evening, Tuesday morning, with a lot more analysis from this game. But yeah, thanks for watching. Come on, you Whites.